is much more common today to see women wearing the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps uniforms than it was in the days of World War II and the wars before. In the Civil War, it was unheard of to see a woman or even hear of a woman soldier, yet they were there, hidden amongst the masses of men in the lines of battle. They hid obvious female characteristics and pulled on the uniforms of their male counterparts. Women in the Civil War would follow the regiments from camp to camp and even into battle. And the men of the regiments called these women their guardian angels because they would care for the wounded soldiers. Throughout our nation's history, women have always been there in all our wars, whether caring for wounded soldiers or taking up his rifle or even his place on a cannon. Douglas MacArthur called the women in the service my best soldiers. In World War I, an article on the official Army website called Women in the U.S. Army discusses that women were in uniform and in World War I and held desk jobs previously held by men that were sent to the front. When the war ended, these women telephone operators were relieved of their position and not even discharged, being told that they were never actually a part of the Army, even though they wore the same uniform. And finally, in 1979, when most of them had passed away, they were granted their military status. Fast forward to today. We're fighting terrorism in the Middle East. More and more positions are opened up to women, yet there are still positions that they are prevented from holding because of the close quarter fighting and exposure to danger. An article on CDI.org by Jake Willens called Women in the Military, Combat Roles Considered says that jobs in the military that are close to women make up 39% of the total positions and 12% of the skilled positions. There are many reasons why someone would want to join the Army, whether to gain experience or knowledge for a career later in life, or maybe just because they wanted something to do. If a woman joined the Army and she wanted to fight, why should she be kept from that position? If she is qualified in the same job as a man, and she can do her job equally as efficient, and if not more so efficient than her male counterpart, why should she be kept from that position? Women who have enlisted say that they willingly enlisted because they knew the risks and they still wanted to pursue that career. But perhaps maybe they aren't ready to serve in that sort of way. We should leave the decision up to them. That is the second point. Perhaps during the women enlistment process, there should be a section, a check yes or no section, if you will, whether or not they want to be subject to deployment and service in those positions. If they were to check no, then they would not have to be subject to those positions if they so choose, and the exposure to enemy fire. We are, however, making progress by opening up attack helicopter positions to women in 1994. An article called Crossing the Lines by Tim McGurk in the Sunday, February 19, 2006 issue of Time magazine says that women who have been on those patrols in the Middle East want a chance to prove themselves and not be subject to the usual discrimination. Women today make up 15% of our active duty forces. All they want is the chance to prove themselves. And when they have those chances, they do prove themselves. They have proven themselves time and again in the heat of battle, and at times been appointed positions because of their necessary maturity levels. Throughout all that we have discussed, it seems fair to let women do what they see fit, because they are qualified for that position, and it's because they want to do. They want to serve their country in that way. And they are hired by our military because of their obvious strengths and maturity level. And those reasons emphasized above are proof of that. But regardless of what position they may hold, or the uniform of the branch they're wearing, they are wearing the uniform, and they deserve our utmost respect. And I say thank you to our women soldiers.